family and for Dr. Ford and her family. They were instead held out until the final moment. I consider that most unfortunate. And for that, on behalf of this committee, I extend to you my most profound sympathies. Most profound sympathies to Dr. Ford and her family.
Another man that made him the victim.
Mr. Chairman, since we don't have enough slots for everyone, can I have the last minute of Senator Lee so that Senator Kennedy can be recognized? Judge, we did 38 hours in public with you. Did we have any private hearings with you? Yes. Was that a fun time for you? When senators could ask questions that are awkward or uncomfortable about potential alcoholism, potential gambling addiction, credit card debt, if your buddies floated you money to buy baseball tickets. Did you enjoy that time we spent in here late one night? I'm always happy to cooperate with the committee. That's charitable. Were you ever asked about any sexual allegations when we had that time in here with you alone? No. Did the ranking member already have these allegations for, I guess this would have been September 6 or 7? And the letter was written on July 30th. A recommendation was made by the ranking member or her staff to Dr. Ford. And by the way, I think Dr. Ford is a victim, and I think she's been through hell, and I'm very sympathetic to her. But did the ranking member's staff, did we hear today, make a recommendation to hire a lawyer, and she knew all of that? And yet we had a hearing here with you, and none of these things were asked. But then once the process was closed, once the FBI investigation was closed, once we were done meeting in public and in private, then this was sprung on you. I just want to make sure I have the dates correct, right? Because we got 35 plus days from all the time that this evidence was in the hands. Recommendations were made to an outside lawyer. You could have handled all this. We could have had this conversation in private in a way that didn't not only do crap to his family, but do all... I yield my time. I'm trying to see if you could do math about 35 days. That was a little bit of a question. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Judge Kavanaugh. As a federal judge, you're aware of the jury instruction falsus in unibus, falsus in omnibus, are you not? You're aware of that jury instruction?
Yeah, I am.
You know what it means?
You can translate it for me, Senator. You can do it better than I can.
False in one thing, false in everything, meaning in jury instructions that some of us as prosecutors have heard many times, is told a jury that they can disbelieve a witness if they find him to be false in one thing. So the core of why we're here today really is credibility. Let me talk.
The core of why we're here is an allegation for which the 4 witnesses present have all said it didn't happen.
Let me ask you about Renata Dolphin, who lives in Connecticut. She thought these yearbook statements were, quote, horrible, hurtful, and simply untrue, end quote, because Renata alumni clearly implied some boast of sexual conquest. And that's the reason that you apologized to her, correct?
That's false. Speaking about the yearbook, and she said she and I never had any sexual interactions. So your question is false, and I've addressed that in the opening statement. And so your question is based on a false premise and really does great harm to her. I don't know why you're bringing this up, frankly. Doing great harm to her by even bringing her name up here is really unfortunate.
Well,
see, him trying to act like he's sympathizing with who he victimized, it's a classic sociopath move.
Friends at the time as boasting of sexual conduct. That's the reason that I'm bringing it up.
You notice how Trump does that a lot, even before he became president?
Look what you're doing here, man. I asked that.
I can't believe I just said before this guy became president, yo. My mind is still stuck on fucking November 7th. 2016, yeah.
Sexual interaction, by bringing this up, you're just dragging her through the mud. It's just unnecessary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You made reference, Judge, to a sworn statement, I believe, by Mark Judge to the committee. Is that correct?
I made reference to what Mark Judge's lawyer sent to the committee.
Yeah, it's not a sworn statement, is it?
Under penalty of felony.
Well, it's a statement signed by his lawyer, Barbara Van Gelder. It is 6 cursory and conclusory sentences. Are you saying that that is a substitute for an investigation by the FBI or some interview by the FBI under oath?
Under penalty of felony, he said that this kind of event didn't happen and that I never did or would have done something like that.
As a federal judge, you always want the best evidence, don't you?
Senator, he has said, and all the witnesses present, look at Ms. Kaiser's statement. She's
Let me move on to another topic. You've testified to this committee this morning, this afternoon, quote, this whole 2-week effort has been a calculated and orchestrated political hit, fueled with apparent pent-up anger about President Trump and the 2016 election, fear that has been unfairly stoked about my judicial record, revenge on behalf of the Clintons, and millions
Hey, y'all know they say that Arizona's are made by the KKK. I ain't mad at them.
the motivation
You know what I mean?
of the courageous woman.
At least we know of him.
Just
Them Arizona's be on point, so
was revenge
I ain't too mad at them.
of a left-wing conspiracy or the Clintons?
Senator, I said in my opening statement that she preferred confidentiality. Her confidentiality was destroyed by the actions of this committee.
Let me ask you this. In a speech that you gave at Yale, you described, quote, falling out of the bus onto the front steps of the Yale Law School at 4:45 a.m.
I wasn't describing me. I organized, Senator, let me finish here, please. I organized a third-year end-of-school party for 30 of my classmates to rent a bus to go to Fenway Park in Boston, which is about a 3-hour trip. I bought all the tickets. You and I have discussed that before. I bought all the baseball tickets. I rented the bus. I organized the whole trip. We went to Fenway Park. Roger Clemens was pitching for the Red Sox. We had a great time. George Brett was playing third base for the Royals. She was playing left field that night. And
He remembers all that?
back, and then we went out. It was a great night of friendship.
I apologize for interrupting.
He just went and Googled that shit earlier, made sure he got all the facts right.
I wasn't talking about
Ends. The quote ends.
Now Wikipedia told him who pieced that now, which inning, what happened,
Piece
what.
things back together. And
He had blanked out that night.
what happened that night? Meaning,
I know what happened.
well, you
Judge, will you quickly answer your question, then I'm going to let him answer.
I know what happened that
I'll
night.
finish asking my question.
Please, go ahead, do it quickly.
Doesn't that imply to you that you had to piece things back together? You had to ask others what happened that night?
No,
Okay, you take your time now and answer the question. Then Senator Craig.
definitely not. I know exactly what happened that night. It was a great night of fun. I was so happy.
And Lisa Milano just shook her head. I feel you, girl. Hey,
To Fenway
can I
Park.
see her right there?
Went out
Right there?
together, a group of
Right
classmates,
there,
and I
that's
know
her right
exactly
there.
what happened.
That's my girl right there. She just, she like, I feel you, girl.
Do you believe Anita Hill?
Senator Craig. Senator Craig. Senator Craig.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Judge Kavanaugh.
That's what the hell just happened.
Into
That's what I
this
said.
question that's been bandied back and forth
That's
here
what I said.
almost endlessly today about the FBI investigation process. Because I think I want to follow up a little bit on what Senator Lee and Senator Sass
My
have.
man name is Crapo.
There's been a lot of talk here
Look like a
about
piece of
we
crap.
need an FBI
It's like, now let me stop.
in
Let me
these
leave you alone,
processes,
Crapo.
which you've been through a number of
You represent
times,
Idaho,
the
man.
FBI
Remember
does a
some
background check with regard to
straight
the nomination.
Trump and White House
Please
there.
describe that for us. What does the
I'm
FBI
sorry, Idaho.
The FBI gathers statements from people who have information. They don't resolve credibility. They gather the information, and the credibility determination is made by the ultimate fact finder, which in this case is the United States Senate. The committee, of course, here is gathered evidence.
And the FBI then gives that report to the White House, if I understand it, and the White House then transfers it to the Senate. Is that
That's my understanding, yes.
control? And as you indicated, it does not do, and it's been said many times here today, the FBI does not make judgments. It gives the Senate committee information. At that point in time, if I understand the
Information
process
that would be
correctly,
useful.
the Senate, the United States Senate Judiciary Committee has legal authorities.
Because it's the FBI. They found somebody's jersey. They can investigate whether.
The Senate has legal
Yeah.
authority to conduct further investigations.
That
Is
part.
correct?
That's my understanding.
And that is what has been referenced here many times about how some of these witnesses that were identified in the very late information that we received have made statements that are under penalty of.
I just saw this
felony.
6
That's
black
a
person.
felony for lying to the Senate
I
Judiciary
did.
Committee.
She's right there.
And as I ended, what happens is the Senate Judiciary Committee, which has authority under law to conduct those kinds of investigations, follows up on the FBI reports to finish out the investigation that it wants with regard to any information that it receives that needs further investigation. Is that your understanding of the process?
That's my understanding, Senator.
Now, in this case, there's been a lot of talk here today, and if I have time, I'll get into it. It looks like I'll run out of time. But in this case, there's a lot of concern by many that there was not so much an interest in an FBI investigation as there was in delay. I'm not going to get to that unless I have time. I want to talk about what happened in the Senate committee's investigation. Because as I understand it, this may be more of a question to the chairman, as soon as we received information, which was about 45 days after others on the committee received it, we conducted an investigation. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman? I'm sorry to turn the questioning to you, but we began that legal Senate Judiciary Committee investigation.
Yes.
And that investigation involved our fully, lawfully enabled investigators to conduct an investigation. And if I understand it correctly, the Democratic members of the committee refused.
Like I said, Black America is the mundane, dumbass, niggling little things
The investigation.
that's important.
The very kinds of
Sitting
things that
through
my
shit
colleagues
like
on the
this.
other side are asking
I'm
them
just saying.
to tell the FBI
You want to be
that
informed,
this
right?
committee has the
I
authority
mean,
to do it, and this
you know.
committee does it, and this committee has done it. Now, there
sorry.
may be more demands for more interviews and more investigations.
I had a thought.
But when
I had to share.
Judge Kavanaugh have referenced the testimony that has come from those who were who were identified as being at this event, the testimony that has been received from them is information that has been received pursuant to a Senate committee investigation. And I just think it should be made clear. I think there's been a lot of back and forth here about, oh, we're not getting information, we're not looking at this, you don't want to look into the investigation, you don't want to see what happened. The reality is that this committee immediately and thoroughly investigated every witness that has been identified to us, and we have statements under penalty of felony from them. So I just want to conclude with that. I got 45 seconds left, so I'm going to just ask you one quick question again on timing. You had a meeting with Senator Feinstein on August 20th?
That's my understanding, yeah. Well, I had a meeting, and that's my understanding of the date.
Of the date, yes. What was established earlier in testimony here today was that the ranking member's staff helped Dr. Ford to retain the Katz law firm on sometime between July 30th and August 7th. So I just wanted you to clarify one more time. In the meeting that you had 2 weeks or more later, this issue was not raised with you, right?
The issue was not raised.
All right, thank you. My time's up.
We'll take a 5-minute break now.
We'll take a 5-minute break now.
The break here for the Senate Judiciary Committee, the question continuing for Judge Brett Kavanaugh at times.
Where did I stop at last time? Okay. Yeah. Say you go tired for seeing me face. All right. For women, the periods from 1918 to 1939 was essentially one of consolidation of gains so that by the time World War II broke out, there was no hesitation on the part of anyone in calling women to serve in the civilian roles of men, and in many cases in the armed services. But women have yet some distance to go before they reach full emancipation. When men speak of the rights of man, okay, when men speak of the quote, rights of man, they mean the rights of men, men who will attend to the rights of everyone else. Alas, they have been singularly slow to establish the rights of women. And I am not speaking simply of political rights, I mean all the rights to which a human being, by virtue of the fact that he is a human being, should be higher. But since I have mentioned political rights, consider how appalling it is that as late as 1945, when the UN Charter was signed, there were only 36 countries in the whole world which accorded women full political rights. Wow. Wow. As late as 1945, when the UN Charter was signed, that's when the UN came into existence, 1945. There were only 36 countries in the whole world which accorded women full political rights. In the United States, in so many ways, one of the most progressive lands in the world, the only right guaranteed American women by the Constitution is the right to vote. And this is an amendment. And this is by an amendment, the 19th, which was largely the work of Susan B. Anthony. Of all other rights, such as equal protection under the law, the rights to jury service, the right to control income and earnings, the right to make contact, the right to enter any business or profession, the right not to be deprived of one's property without due process of law, the right to choose unrestrictedly the hours of work, the right to custody of children, to divorce or freedom of speech. Of all these rights, none is constitutionally guaranteed to women. They are state rights, which are at the disposition of state legislature and may be changed by the wind listed. Wow. You ain't know that. You ain't know that. I ain't know that either. You ain't know that. Told you to pick up a damn book. They got secrets in the book they don't want you as a black man to know. Just pick up that book and read it, yo. Open up your mind, yo. You can even smoke a blunt while you do it. I guarantee you, you will enjoy your high. When them words hit you, I'm just saying. I'm sorry. I love my ganja, you know what I mean? But we're gonna leave that one alone. Don't want to scare the good-hearted Trump whites too much, you know what I mean? Don't want them to say that I was stoned throughout this whole time when I was doing this, but even though my mind is 90% clear, then their minds are, even when I'm stoned. Imagine when I'm not. To the pit of misery, dilly dilly. I digress though. Let me read that back. In the United States, in so many ways, one of the most progressive lands in the world, the only rights guaranteed American women by the Constitution is the right to vote. And this is by an amendment, the 19th, which was largely the work of Susan B. Anthony. Of all other rights, such as equal protection under the law, the rights to jury service, the right to control income and earnings, the right to make contracts, the right to enter any business or profession, the right not to be deprived of one's property without due process of law, the right to choose unrestrictedly the hours of work, the right to custody of children, to divorce or freedom of speech. Of all these rights, none is constitutionally guaranteed to women. There are state rights, which are at the disposition of state legislatures and may be changed as the wind listeth.
As to whether or not
They're not back yet. Chris Wallace is still being a racist white boy. So, the Equal Rights Amendment to the Constitution has been an election year promise both by the Democratic and by the Republican parties on several occasions, but it has yet to be enacted into law. The proposed amendment reads, "Equality under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex." There can be little doubt that it will be long before this amendment becomes part of the Constitution of the United States. In 1948, a Senate Judiciary Subcommittee recommended by the vote of 7-1 that the amendment do pass, but no further action was taken. It's been 70 years this year.
if they go at 9:30 tomorrow,
Hey, look up the Equal Rights Amendment, the ERA. It's been 70 years, yo. That thing still hasn't. Just, I look it up. The Equal Rights Amendment. There was something about it earlier this year in the news. I think Michigan or something just signed it.
That's because they want us to distract. They want to distract us from what happened here this morning. And what happened here this morning was that we heard from Dr. Christine Ford.
I like her, yo.
With quiet,
Senator
raw, emotional
Hirono,
about what happened to her.
Miss Maisie from Hawaii. I like her.
Who attacked her. And she explained how she came forward, how she struggled with her decision, how she wanted the president to know so that he could make a better choice. So when you and my colleagues on the other side accuse us of ambushing you with false charges, I think we all have to remember Dr. Ford's testimony and her courage. Let me go back to something you just said in your opening. You said you thought at your first hearing the Democrats were an embarrassment. We asked you a lot of questions in those days. And which of our questions do you think were an embarrassment? I asked you about dissents you had written as a judge, an amicus brief you wrote as a lawyer, and your knowledge of sexual harassment and abuse by your close friend and mentor Alex Kozinski. All valid questions in this setting. They are valid because this is a job interview for one of the most important positions of trust in this country. And earlier you agreed that this process of advice and consent is really a job interview. Certainly not a criminal trial. There's certainly no entitlement for you to be confirmed to the Supreme Court. Are credibility, character, and candor of a nominee things for us to consider in your job interview?
I think my whole life is subject to consideration.
Is that yes? Credibility, character, and
My
candor
whole
are
life
specific traits that would be of interest to us as we consider putting you for life on the highest court in the country. Credibility, character, and candor.
Of course, and as part of my whole life.
Is temperament also an important trait?
I
for
like
us to
her.
consider?
For 12 years, everyone who's appeared before me on the D.C. Circuit has praised my judicial temperament. That's why I have a unanimous, well-qualified rating from the American Bar Association and all the people who have appeared before.
So you would agree that temperament is also an important factor for...
Yes, and the federal public defender who testified to the committee talked about how I was always open-minded and how I ruled in favor of unpopular defendants, how I was fair-minded. I think universally, lawyers who've appeared before.
Yes, I am running out of time. You know, we only have 5 minutes, so let me get to something else. In your Fox News interview, you said that you, quote, always treated women with dignity and respect, end quote. And that in high school you never, quote, drank so much that you couldn't remember what happened the night before. Would you say the same thing about your college life?
Yes.
So I'd like to read you statements from people who knew you in college.
Can I say one thing?
Was noted that James Roche said your roommate, although Brett was normally reserved, he was a notably heavy drinker, even by the standards of the time, and he became aggressive and belligerent when he was drunk. So is your former college roommate lying?
I would refer you to what I said in the sealed or redacted portion about his relationship with the other two roommates, and I'm going to leave it at that. I will say, sorry, you're asking about college. I got into Yale Law School. That's the #1 law school in the country. I have no connections there. I got there by busting my tail in
I feel
college.
insulted as a Georgetown graduate.
Excuse me?
Go on.
I'm sorry. It's ranked #1. That doesn't mean it's #1. And, you know, in college, two things. A, I studied. I was in cross-campus library every night. And B, I played basketball for the junior varsity. I tried out for the varsity. The first day I arrived on campus, we had captain's workouts. I played basketball every day, all through. And then as soon as the season was over in late February, captain's workouts started again. I was obsessed with
So you were not,
basketball player.
I only have 23 seconds. So you were not as sloppy drunk, so your roommate was lying.
I will refer you again to the redacted portion. I'll say, look at my academic record, and I don't usually like to talk about myself this way, but in response to you know, I worked very hard in college in my studies, and I also played basketball, I did sports, and I also did socialize.
Excuse me, I know that the chairman is going to stop me, but I do have some other references from people who knew you who say that you were not the basic harbor. But hold on, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Tell us.
I would like to, Mr. Chairman, okay, I'll wait until we finish because I just want to enter some letters into the record. Could I do that?
Wasn't clear that's
It's not
what
a
you were
question.
doing.
I could go on, but Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter into the record 4 letters. One is dated September 18th, 2018 to you from all of the Democrats on this committee. Another is a letter dated September 18th to Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, and Don McGahn, counsel to the president, signed by all the Democrats on this committee. A September 21st letter signed by Chuck Schumer and Dianne Feinstein to the president, and a September 26th letter signed by all the Democrats on this committee, all requesting an FBI investigation, because you did say all we have to do is ask, and the implication being that if we ask, an investigation will happen, and it certainly has not happened. Thank you, Mr.
Without
Chairman.
objection, that will be included. Senator, tell us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge Kavanaugh, thank you again for being here, and I apologize for what you're going through right now. I can't imagine. I've gone through a campaign and had a lot of smears, but it pales in comparison to what you've had to deal with. I think one point that I'd like to make from the onset, if we go back and review how this committee process has worked, we've got a lot of work to do. We've had members take it on themselves to release committee confidential documents instead of respecting the process. We've had
Trust
an
the
allegation
process.
for nearly 7 weeks.
What up, MB?
That would have given us plenty of time to investigate. And then when we finally got the information, I invite everybody, particularly the
That boy wanna
American
cut himself
public,
the damn
there's
process.
investigation going on.
What's up,
A
fool?
lot of it's been documented. There's a chronology on the website that says that each and every time an allegation was made, the staff followed up on it. And sadly, in several different instances, the Democrats declined.
The NFL season, it's not.
They listened in on at least one interview with you, didn't ask a single question. If they wanted to find other leads and other things to do, why not ask? If you're really trying to get to the facts, if you're really trying to do your job to investigate, we're investigating. It's our job. I think in response to the ranking member's question that Judge Kavanaugh said, I'm here, you're asking me questions. But you know what? When the committee staff, I assume, directed by the ranking member, says, no, we're not going to ask questions of Judge Kavanaugh when he wanted to come in and clear his good name, what are you really after? You may not be after the truth. Maybe you are. Maybe you're after executing some sort of a political agenda. Maybe it's a mix of both. But I think you've been treated unfairly, and I'm amazed that after 32 hours of testimony, 1.5 hours I sat in this room, that none of these questions came up when it was all fully known. Lawyered up, as a matter of fact. I also want to go back
to the comments this morning, I think I heard, and we can go back to the record if someone disagrees with me, I think I heard Dr. Ford say that she wasn't aware of the fact that we said we'd come to California, we'd make it confidential, we'll completely depose and ask any questions you want to. I think I heard her say she wasn't aware of that. I don't know where that came with counsel or not, whether counsel just neglected to tell her counsel, but the fact of the matter is that offer was out there. We were moving heaven and earth and even moving the schedule to get to the truth. We're doing an investigation. We're doing our level best. I hope that the American people who are watching this will go out to the Senate Judiciary website and take a look at this chronology. Take a look at the lack of investigation on the part of the people who want the investigation. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Every opportunity you had to go and question a witness, every opportunity that we've had to find more truth, to find more facts, we've done it. It's documented. We've got sworn statements. We're doing our job. We're doing the committee work. Judge Kavanaugh, I also have to say, I believe that you're the first major target of a new strategy that's developed here. And I think you're right. I think it's just basically attack, attack, attack. It's not advise and consent. It's search and destroy. And maybe one of the best evidence of this is one of the websites, one of the groups that are out there attacking you and trying to create fodder and all of these red herrings has already acquired a URL for the next judge that they're going to attack. URL's right here. They've already purchased it. They're ready to go. This is the playbook. This is the way we're going to run this committee from this point forward.
Fox News people gave him that. You know what? Let me stop blaming Fox for everything. I think Steve Bannon gave him that one. I don't think it was Fox this time. It was Steve Bannon.
I would tell you to pound the table with your ranking member and the leadership on your side to say, why didn't we ask questions? Why did we listen in and defer? Why didn't we do our part of the investigation while this leader did everything he could to accommodate Dr. Ford and to run down every single lead that's been presented to us? Weeks after it was known to the minority. I look forward to supporting your confirmation. I believe that you're going to be on the bench. You know, as
I told ya Lindsey Graham has said the groundwork for them to support him right there and there to his face after his fiery speech. I tell y'all one thing, he got my vote. Now Tilly's following Graham.
You drink on weekdays as well in high school, not just weekends. Is that correct? Weekdays? Yes, sir. I'd say that's rare. You're talking about during the school year? I'm talking about the calendars that you provided during these dates. That's in the summer after a football workout when we went over to. You drink on weekdays, yes or no, sir? In the summer, when we went over to Timmy's house on July 1st, that would indicate yes.
If it ain't Becky's house, it's Timmy's house, huh?
Went over for skis. That's Brewskis, correct? And after Tobin, sir, I just need yes or no. That Brewskis, right? Well, I need to explain context. You just said, sir, that you drink on.
Hey, it might not be Brewski's, Corey. It might be, he might be skiing, like doing lines of coke. He might be skiing.
That you never in your life, after drinking heavily to the point of throwing up, and again, you said you had a weak stomach.
The FBI should really investigate if this guy was a cokehead on top of drinking beers. You know, it usually goes hand in hand.
Okay. Sir, you also said that this past 2 weeks has been a 2-week effort, calculated and orchestrated as a political hit. Are you saying that Dr. Ford's efforts to come forward, to prepare for the very difficult testimony she gave today, to travel to Washington, D.C. and tell us about her experience, have all been part of an orchestrated political hit? And are you basically calling her some kind of political operative? I've said my family has no ill will toward Dr. Ford. She wanted confidentiality. Her confidentiality was blown by the actions of this committee, and it's turned this into. So, sir, let's just be clear. In other words, you have problems with the senators are up here and how we conducted it,
but you're not saying in any way that she is a political pawn, political operative. You have sympathy for her.
Go ahead, Cody. Look at you.
I said all allegations should be taken seriously. You should listen to both sides. My family has no ill will toward her.
Thank you, sir. Do you wish that she never came forward?
Sir,
Yes.
I did not do this. The witness,
That's not my question.
At least you're nodding, yeah. I'm nodding too, Lisa.
Came forward.
the witnesses who were there say it didn't happen.
Okay, sir. Do you wish you just remain silent then?
The witnesses who were there say it didn't happen. All allegations should be taken seriously.
So even if it's in the final days
Yo, Cody, get it.
credible allegation of experience that they held for a long time, that person should be.
This is democracy in progress.
Civic duty. You're not questioning her sense of
Yes, it is.
She did come forward, and then it was
I know you have a lot of political animus. You stated it very clearly towards my colleagues and I on this panel.
That's
What
regardless
I'm
of that.
trying to get to the bottom of is you do not see her specifically as part of an orchestrated event. That she's not a political
I
player.
don't know her, but I've also said that we bear no ill will toward her. She wanted confidentiality. This could have been handled.
And I understand, but she came forward. She took a great extent.
He was about to say he could have been handled the Trump way, paying them off $130,000.
And you made the allegation that she was.
She was never a stripper. Her integrity is not to be bought and sold. I'm sorry, Stormy. I had to go there, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that about you. Hey,
She was not coordinated. She was not.
you got the wiggly penis, you know what I mean?
2012 when she told her.
You got that. Do your thing, girl.
She was not coordinated.
Thank God you didn't sleep with Big Ben.
Painful experience when she made revelations to her husband.
I can't thank God for that. I wish you would have.
2016, 2017, before he
Then you would have been proved that he's a rapist.
with 3 different people that had sexually assaulted her. That wasn't coordination. And Liz,
All the witnesses who were there say it didn't happen. Ms. Kaiser's her longtime friend, said she never saw me at a party with or without Dr.
and Ms. Kaiser has said clearly, and I'll quote what she said. She said she does not remember that in question. That supports what you said. But she also says that she believes Dr. Ford. And so my colleague Lindsey Graham, who I respect and have admiration to, has been a partner of mine. He said voting no would be legitimizing the most despicable thing in American politics. Do you think that people who believe Dr. Ford are legitimizing despicable things? Those of us who think she's a credible witness, the allegations against her are credible, do you think that somehow we're engaging in something that's despicable?
Senator, I say listen to both sides before you make a bottom line conclusion.
Just answer the question, yes or no.
That is fair. Look, I have 10 seconds left, sir. You can answer after I finish. You have 10 seconds left. That is fair. Listen to both sides. This is not about somebody, one side being despicable, the other side not. Listen to both sides. She was a credible, I'm going to finish my question, you can answer. She gave credible, meaningful testimony, a woman who had the courage to come forward and tell her truth, sir. And that's what I'm just asking you to say. She is not a political pawn. She is not orchestrating. She is not part of the Clintons' efforts to get some kind of revenge. She is a woman who came here.
Thank you for not using Obama's name in that train of thought. You would have really given the GOP fodder. Further fodder.
The witnesses who were there say it didn't happen.
Wordsmiths like that. Further fodder.
Judge Kavanaugh, you and your family have been treated incredibly poorly by Senate Democrats and by the media. And let me say also, I think Dr. Ford and her family have been treated incredibly poorly by Senate Democrats and the media. You have both seen your good names dragged through the mud. And this has been, sadly, one of the most shameful chapters in the history of the United States Senate. Let me say to you and your family, thank you for a lifetime of public service. I will say, watching your mother's pained face
He had to invoke that man's mama.
as she's seen her son's character dragged through the mud after not only your lifetime of public service, but her lifetime of public service as well. And I know as a father,
Yo, they going all out to make this white boy look like a victim, yo.
than talking to your daughters and explaining these attacks that the media is airing. I also believe, though, that the American people are fair-minded people. That the
Oh,
American
Fox
people
just panned out.
set aside the
Showed his whole family.
warfare of Washington and look to substance and facts. And that is the
Back to the money shot with Elisa.
Three different sets of allegations that have dominated.
My favorite Texas redneck,
I think it's important to
Teddy
note
Cruz.
that
What up, Teddy?
allegations had so little corroboration that even the New York Times,
You know what? Speaking of
which is
Teddy
no conservative outlet,
Cruz,
refused to report on them
I'm
because they could find.
I'm not gonna listen to his dumbass bullshit. Let me read a thing from Vox on the 21st. Vox.com, VOX.com. Beto O'Rourke could lead a blue wave in Texas even if he loses his Senate race. This could be the difference between a very conservative Texas,
Allegations were so scandalous that the ranking member omitted
let me just turn it down.
his client's.
I want to hear when somebody else come on or when Kavanaugh is saying something, so, but my voice can drown the races out. Vox.com. Beto O'Rourke could lead a blue wave in Texas, even if he loses his Senate race. This could be the difference between a very conservative Texas and a bipartisan one. By Tara Golshan, Golshan, on September 21st, 2018 at 1:40 p.m. There is a small but real possibility that Democrat Betty O'Rourke could unseat Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz in November. In two separate polls this past week, O'Rourke has been 9 points behind Ted Cruz and 2 points ahead of him. Both are shockingly close for a race that's been comfortably handed to Republicans for the past 30-odd years. Remember that 30-odd years? When we get to Texas stuff by Robert Parkinson, The Rise of America's Prison Empire. You know what I mean? We remember the fact that Republicans have held that Texas Senate seat for the past 30 odd years. But even if he loses, O'Rourke could still be a big winner, and it wouldn't just be a moral victory. The closeness of the race has made Texas Republicans nervous. Not only are they staring down a competitive Senate race in deep red Texas, but the state GOP is starting to worry that the energy behind O'Rourke could spur a local blue wave across Texas, a state that has a handful of competitive congressional races, half a dozen of competitive state races, and more than 70 toss-up state judicial posts on the ballot. Even if O'Rourke can't close the statewide gap, if he closes it within the range polling is right now, it will close the gap in some of the races that are tightly contested. James Hansen, the director of the Texas Politics Project, said, "The stakes are high. Control of the U.S. House may rest on only 1 or 2 seats, and Democrats are seriously vying to flip 4 in Texas. Enough wins at the state level could mean the difference between an ultra-conservative state government and a more bipartisan one. And because Texas also elects its judges," please go vote if you're black and in Texas. And because Texas also elects its judges,
Chairman, let me be clear. I did not hide Dr. Ford's allegations. I did not leak her story. She asked me to hold it confidential, and I kept it confidential as she asked. She apparently was stalked by the press, felt that what happened, she was forced to come forward, and her greatest fear was realized. She's been harassed, she's had death threats, and she's had to flee her home. In addition, the investigation that the Republican majority is heralding is really nothing that I know about, other than a partisan practice. Normally, all the witnesses would be interviewed. However, that's not happened. While the majority has reached out to several people, they did not notify me or my staff that they were doing this.
all right, I know Teddy that I'm about to,
Tell us what they were up to is somewhat.
my friend Teddy,
I
Thanks, Stephen A. My friend Teddy Cruz, you know what I mean? Although he ain't asked no questions, he just bloviated a little bit, you know what I mean? He knows he's on his way out the door. He knows he's on his way out the door. You see how fat he don't got since Trump became president? He's turned into a little capitalist fat cat.
I have great respect for Senator Feinstein. We've worked together on many topics, and I believe what you just said. Can you tell us that your staff did not leak it?
Oh, I don't believe my staff would leak it. I have not asked that question directly, but I do not believe.
You know that?
Why are they nitpicking on the leak? Why is that an issue?
The staff
Have you asked your staff?
Why is that even an issue? I get it. Trace have put the FBI on the leak, and then yes, but I get it. It was leaked. It was leaked. It was brought out. Like Cory Booker, I was asking, do you regret the fact that she came out and said something? Would you have rather she been quiet? Would you have rather she contacted you and then you made a deal and paid her off and then that's it? You know what I mean? But back to Tara Goshen.
Dr. Ford requested that it be kept confidential. Is there a process for the committee for considering confidential allegations?
And the answer is yes, and I think Senator Tillis pointed out the document that I put out to show all the things that we've done along the lines of your question.
And Mr. Chairman, what would you have done if on July 30th the ranking member had raised this allegation with you? As the chairman of this committee, how would you have
Would
handled
have
that?
done like we have done with every background, or let's say FBI report that comes from the White House with a nominee.
He lying.
Subsequent
If they would have came out with it on July 30th, July, August, September, in 2 months, it would have died with a news cycle. To the pit of misery, dilly dilly. It would have died with a news cycle.
So bipartisan investigators could have investigated this 2 months ago and it could have been heard in a confidential setting without Dr. Ford's name.
Well, they can still do that now, right? Ain't that right, Ted?
conversations that we had with the judge to our
I'm sorry, guys. I welcome y'all into my mind, in my room. So, yeah, put up with it. If you want, stop listening to my bullshit and go read a book.
May I respond? It's my understanding that her story was leaked before the letter became public, and she testified that she had spoken to her friends about it, and it's most likely that that's how the story leaked, and that she had been asked by press, but it did not leak from us, I assure you of that.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm a little confused. I thought only the member of the House and Senator Feinstein and her lawyers had the letter. So her friends she might have talked to about it couldn't leak the letter if they just had a verbal conversation unless she gave them a copy of the letter.
Senator, I don't think the letter was ever leaked.
Well, how did the press know to contact her about her complaint?
She testified here this morning that she had talked to friends about it, and the press had talked to her.
Senator, Judge, since there was reference to the problems, the legitimate problems, and the
Y'all don't get it, yo. This is awesome as hell. This is motherfucking democracy in fucking action, yo. This is great.
on your family, I'd be glad to hear you. If you don't want to talk about it, that's okay.
I've talked about that, Mr.
Okay. Then, Senator Harris.
Thank you. Judge Kavanaugh, have you taken a professionally administered polygraph test as it relates to this issue?
If the other victim did, why haven't you? I love Kamala, yo. What up, Kay?
They're not admissible in federal court because they're not reliable. As you know.
So you've not taken it. All three of the women who have made sworn allegations against you have called for an independent FBI investigation into the claims. You've been asked during the course of this hearing by 4 different members by my count at least 8 times today. and also earlier this week on national television, whether you would call for the White House to authorize an FBI investigation. Each time you have declined to do so. Now, you know, I know you do, that the FBI is an agency of men and women who are sworn and trained law enforcement, who in the course of conducting background investigations on nominees for the Supreme Court of the United States and others are charged with conducting those background investigations because they are sworn law enforcement and they have the expertise and the ability and the history of doing that. So I'm going to ask you one last time. Are you willing to ask the White House to authorize the FBI to investigate the claims that have been made against you?
Well, I'll do whatever the committee wants, of course.
And I've heard you say that, but I've not heard you answer a very specific question that's been asked, which is, are you willing to ask the White House to conduct an investigation by the FBI to get to whatever you believe is the bottom of the allegations that have been levied against you?
The FBI would gather witness statements. You have
I don't want to debate with you how they do their business.
It's a simple yes or no.
To ask the White
Thank you.
House to conduct such an investigation, because as you are aware, the FBI did conduct a background investigation into you before we were aware of these most recent allegations. So are you willing to ask the White House to do it? And say yes or no, and then we can move on.
I've had 6 background investigations over 26 years.
As it relates to the recent allegations, are you willing to have them do it?
The witness testimonies before you.
Yo, if you live in Kamala Harris's district in California, and you're black and you don't go vote for that lady every year for the rest of her political career, your black card is whitewashed.
He was considered by this body just last year. I did a rough kind of analysis of similarities. You both attended Georgetown Prep. You both attended very prestigious law schools. You both clerked for Justice Kennedy. You were both circuit judges. You were both nominated to the Supreme Court. You were both questioned about your record. The only difference is that you have been accused of sexual assault. How do you reconcile your statement about a conspiracy against you with the treatment of someone who was before this body not very long ago?
I explained that in my opening statement, Senator.
No, you didn't.
Look at the evidence here, the calendars, look at the witness statements, look at Ms. Kaiser's statement.
Okay. And then, do you agree that it is possible for men to both be friends with some women and treat other women badly?
Of course, but the point I've been emphasizing that is if you go back to age 14 for me, you will find people, and not just people, lots of people who I've been friends with. Some of them are in this room today, starting at age 14, women, and who talked about my friendships with them through my whole life. And it's a consistent pattern all the way through. 65 women